other thing, but it didn't work. The other live stream just bombed. So anyways, here I am back, take two. We're talking about how to stop caring what other people think. Let me know that you can hear me and see me. Make sure that the volume is good. I won't start talking until you can confirm that you can hear me and see me because I don't want to mess this one up either. Someone let me know in the chat that the volume is good and everything. Hi, can you hear me, Princess? Okay, thank you. Awesome. So I am in Honolulu, Hawaii, just completed the Rich Babe Mastermind event, which was freaking awesome, like next level, so good. And from that overflow, I wanted to come here and share with you sort of my journey and hopefully a lot of tips and tricks and hacks and inner work processes that you can start using to really stop caring about what other people think, stop hiding, stop overthinking things, stop analyzing, stop worrying. So in my own journey, I remember there was just this point where it became unbearable to live with the knowing and the awareness that I really cared what other people thought of me, right? And these weren't like random people necessarily, like these were family members and friends, like people close to me, but they didn't necessarily always, I didn't feel that they knew where I was going or what I was trying to do, so I felt quite misunderstood. And that's what it was. I had this thing in my life where I felt like I would be saying one thing and people in my life would be hearing something completely different. I would have one intention and people in my life would be hearing a completely different intention from what I was saying. And that led me to start asking the question. First, it was like this victimhood in me and like, oh my God, no one gets me, no one understands me. Like I went through that whole phase, you know, like the basic babe mode of like, woe is me, like, you know, thinking that everyone's out to get me kind of mentality. But the more that I was in there, like I started realizing, well, if I have good intentions and I'm saying this thing and people around me are misunderstanding that, then could it be that they have good intentions and they're saying something else and I'm hearing something different? So that was like the first kind of like question that popped in. That's why I say that there is such a thing as like asking the right questions versus asking the wrong questions, right? Like, so instead of asking victimhood questions, I started asking more like curiosity questions of like, why are we misunderstanding each other? Why is there such a big disconnect on what I'm saying and what I'm intending and what they're saying and what they're intending and what we're each hearing from each other? So just being like curious about that was the first kind of step of opening to that inner work. And again, I often talk about how inner work does happen in layers. That's why I'm always doing inner work and still doing my inner work, because I know there's more layered, more deeper layers for me to start like unlocking, right? And so that was the first mode. And then as I started studying in university and learning about the psychology of humans and evolution and anthropology and like how we've evolved, it started making a lot more sense to me that we all have this internal audience in our mind. And I talk about this a lot in the Dream Girl course, that especially as women, this internal audience can be quite harsh. And so the job of this internal audience is to guesstimate, take like an educated guesstimate and see what other people might think of what I'm doing, what I'm wearing, how I'm looking, what I'm saying. And this kept us safe in our tribal communities that we used to live in, where everyone was the same, they had the same beliefs, they were like collaborating together to like survive, right? And so if one person did something in that tribe that was like really out of line and said something really like out there, like that could be like dangerous to the tribe's well-being. And so we evolved over time to guess, okay, wait, if I say this or do this or look like this, then this person will think XYZ, and then they might not like me, and then I might get kicked out of the tribe, and then i.e. I might die. So, okay, let me not say that, or let me not do that. So the whole process is happening inside of our head, but it's just like this story, this like little movie that we're playing and guesstimating what someone else will think or say, and then customizing our behavior and our actions and our thoughts and feelings based on that. If you're really aware, you will know that you do this a lot. You probably like will put on a dress and like anticipate what other people might say, or maybe you're an entrepreneur and you make content, you're going to make a post and like delete it or change the wording, or think about, oh my god, like how, will people get offended if I say this? Well, let me like rewrite this post to like water it down and make it more politically correct. Here's the problem with that. In today's society, in today's global society, we no longer have these tiny tribes of similar people, right? Remember, in these tribes, it was like 3 or 4 extended families living together. It was all like everyone was like the same belief systems, like you had the same way of living, you had the same socioeconomic status, like everyone was literally the same, because that's just how they were evolving, right? So in that situation, it mattered what others think, but it was like easier to comply almost, right? Now expand that on a global level, we still have that same way of thinking, but now just think of this YouTube community, right? So my YouTube channel has women from 16 to like 95 watching, from like hundreds of countries that speak different languages, that have different religions, at different walks of life and different socioeconomic status. Like there's no way that I can like make a perfectly curated post, or like wear the perfect dress, or like have the perfect look that would matter and like so many people would agree on. Like it's impossible. So we've gone from like 20 people tribes to like trying to guesstimate what like 20,000 people may be thinking or opinionating about what I'm wearing or saying or posting or my belief systems. Like, can you see the problem with that? Like our ancient brain still works that way, but like society has changed and evolved so fast that you will drive yourself completely insane trying to comply, right? Like it would be crazy. And so if I'm like trying to post something on YouTube or Instagram, and even if I just had like 500 people watching, let's say, right? But these 500 people are maybe from like 20 different countries, and they might have 20 different belief systems, and they might think one way of dressing is elegant, another hairstyle is better, this thing looks rich, this thing does not. And so how would I, if I let my internal audience run amok, like what am I supposed to do? Wear 20 different styles at the same time? Like make my look appeal to 20 different cultural standards? Like, do you see the problem with that? Like, there is no one universal standard anymore. Like, because we no longer live in these small 3 extended family tribes. So that part of us that cares about what others think, it doesn't translate well on this level. So one thing that you will often hear people saying is like, okay, we'll just stop caring what others think. Yes, true, but that's easier said than done, because our brain is still evolved to care what other people say and think. So my solution for this has been, one, becoming really, really aware of the fact that everyone has a different perception based on their belief systems, their upbringing, their style, their values, their opinions, like all that stuff. And that no one person on the planet will agree with every single thing that I'm saying and doing anyways. So the only person that needs to feel in alignment with and agree with everything I'm saying and doing is me. Because it is impossible in the way that we live now in the global society to get everyone to agree on one religion, everyone to agree on one politics or whatever, right? I'm not into politics, so I don't have the right language for that. One system, one way of living, we can't even figure out what everyone should be eating, because everyone has a different perception of that, right? So that was the first thing. second thing was that perception is twisted, it's distorted, right? It's an illusion. The eyes and ears are not a camera. It's not like a actual recorder of what someone's saying. It's a projector, right? So let me give you an example. This just happened a few weeks ago. So there was this like talk that Irfan and I were invited to, and one of the members that was speaking there, Irfan was one of the people speaking, but so were all these other people. And one of the guys that was speaking there, I've never met. So this is the first time I'm hearing this guy speak, but Irfan knows this guy. And I don't know what Irfan knows about this guy, but they obviously have a history. And so when I heard this guy speaking, as I was hearing what he was saying, my internal audience, what I was hearing was, oh my God, what he's saying is so profound. And I wish he had an opportunity to have said that in his own language, because he was speaking in English, which is not his first language. A lot of the words got mistranslated, okay? So I was like, oh my God, what he's saying is quite profound. I wish I could have heard him say this in his native language. What Irfan heard was completely something different. Like later on when we were like talking about what we had heard and kind of like debriefing the whole thing, I was quite shocked to learn that Irfan had heard almost like a personal attack, like that he was negating what he was saying or what everyone else was saying. And I was like thinking, that is not what I heard. But I have no history with that guy. I don't know that guy. I just heard his actual words, and my thought was very different. In fact, I was like, I wish I could hear him give the same speech in his native language, because I could tell that some of the words that he was transferring into English weren't quite doing it justice. That same talk, same guy, same message, two different people heard two very different things. So there is no, like, if you care what other people think, good luck, babe, because that is gonna be a recipe for disaster, because what they're saying and what you're hearing are two different things. What they're intending and what you're receiving, two different things. That's why when we say things like, that's my soul family, that's my soul tribe, what we're really saying is that out of all these billions of people and billions of realities and billions of consciousness, these are the people that like are on the same wavelength. Like what I intend is actually what they happen to hear. What I say is actually in congruence with what they believe, and therefore that's what they're receiving. So what my what's the right word? What my solution for that has been, that I have certain categories of tribes, and I almost take on a slightly different personality and identity in those tribes depending on what I know they're able to receive. And it is always a constant experimentation. So for example, if I know that I have very different viewpoints about certain topics and this person has very different, well, they're not gonna be my like tribe for this thing, right? That's why you hear me saying things like, I only ask for advice or listen to people that are a certain level ahead of me in certain things, because I can't just be going to some random person and like asking for their opinion or thinking what they care, because we're just on different paradigms. We're in different realities. Even though we're having this co-creation moment right now, they're not here to understand me, perceive me correctly, any of those things when it comes to these certain things. Let me turn on the light here. I'm realizing that I had so much more light that I could have turned on. I'll be right back. Okay, so I can see the screen a little bit better. So is this making sense to me? Or is this making sense to you? Let me know. The other thing I want to say, as you guys are writing that in the chat, is that one of the things, so just to recap that, I've created these like mini tribes, like mini circles. So there are some people in my life that are just lunch buddies, okay? Those are just people that you like go to lunch with, and like have a certain level of conversation. Those are not people I would be discussing my religious beliefs or like changing my outfits for, or like worrying about they think about my career choices or my marital choices, right? Like that tribe is literally just company for lunch. And then I have a different circle, like a different tribe, because that's how our brain works, to have, like, for example, my YouTube community right here, right? This is where I get to have like really yummy, delicious, rich conversations. And there is a level that I have set for myself that I go here, right? And if someone was to come and say, Mina, your dress is ugly, or I don't like your hair, I understand that that's a different perception. It's a different tribe. It's a different, like, as long as I like my hair and I like my dress, that's the tribe that I need to care about, right? Because that person might be from a culture where you just wear nipple covers. I don't know. Like, I don't know where that person is from and what they're thinking. So maybe they think that I'm not dressing appropriately, or I'm wearing too much clothing or too little clothing, or the wrong colors, or I don't look elegant, or I'm not rich, right? So do you understand? Like, that's not the tribe that advises me on that, right? That's not the person that I let penetrate my energy, and like now I have to go and like change the way I dress, right? On another hand, let's say that I have a friend who's maybe a personal stylist, and maybe I love her style. Like, she just gets style in a way that I get style. Well, if she says, hey babe, maybe if you cinched your waist a little bit, you could show your curves a little bit more. Well, I might like give that a little bit of more thought. I might say, okay, I'll test that out, right? Like, I might give it a little bit more significance because this is someone that I have invited in that way, right? So this person is in a different box or compartment of the how much I allow them to care about what they're saying, if that makes sense, right? So one of the other things that I want to add to that is this is going to be very triggering, I think, for at least for the Western society, because I think if you are a child of an immigrant or an immigrant yourself, you might relate to this more. See, that's another example, right? Certain things I say, American people are super triggered by that, because in the American culture, there's different viewpoints about that. But children of immigrants, they're like, girl, I get you, right? I'll get messages, they're like, oh my God, me too. My parents too, right? Again, different tribe, different experiences, different perceptions. So I don't validate the stories in my head. I do not validate them. In the Western culture, there is a huge like belief system around feeling validated and letting other people validate you and needing other people to validate what you're saying. It's a very American concept, and maybe they have it in like other Western societies, but I was born and raised in the United States, and I can confirm this is very much like a big thing over here right now, that we need to like validate how everyone's feeling and validate what everyone's saying. And in my experience and from my perceptions and what I know to be true for myself, and again, being a child of immigrants, it's a recipe for disaster. It's dumb. So I don't do it. I sit with my feelings, I process my emotions, I do my inner work. Obviously, I teach this stuff, but I do not validate my feelings or thoughts, because it's just like, think of it as a robot that's just going in your head. It's like, that's a tree, I like that blue color, nice car, and then you're thinking, why are you like narrating everything that I'm seeing, right? There's a function for that. It's a functional feature that if you give too much attention to and too much value to, and like everything that comes up in your head, it's like identifying with the crazy too much, needs to be validated. I think that validating things that are just passing thoughts and feelings and moods can actually start creating identities around them. I can start creating stories around them, right? So let's say that my friend says something and I'm triggered by that, and now I need like to be validated about what I'm saying. Validating it confirms it, that what she said was wrong, how I feel is correct, but it's just literally a passing feeling. Like 5 minutes later, I might realize that I heard her incorrectly. I might realize that she actually didn't mean it what she said, or I might realize that she was in a bad mood, or I might realize that she's not even my real friend. It was like a passing thing, right? And so sitting there and making a whole story around it and needing to be validated, it's you can skip a lot of inner work if instead of validating your feelings, you just observe them. So I might instead say, that's interesting that that triggered me, and see where that feeling comes up in my body. If it's like a panicky, fast moving feeling in my chest area, maybe it's like a burning sensation in my womb, and just being with the actual core raw energy of the emotion that was created from that interaction, that will actually enhance my life experience and move my inner work so much faster than having a whole story around whether I was right or she was wrong, or the validation of the whole thing, where you can just sit and observe that emotional charge that was created, dissipate it, and like you're done. Like it's done. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It doesn't matter what was even said. The most important thing in that interaction, from my perception, is the fact that an emotional charge was created and wants to be released. So that's how I just process it and let that thing dissipate, right? So to kind of recap some of what I said is that I care what others think in certain tribal containers, right? So for example, if my husband was to give me fashion advice, I wouldn't pay too much attention to it. I would listen to it. I would like hear what he's saying, but like he's a man, I'm a woman, right? And like I know what I like to wear. Like at this stage in my life, I know what looks good on me. I know what makes me feel confident. So that's what I'm going to wear. So that's not, he doesn't, when it comes to fashion, he's not in that tribe for me. But when it comes to a lot of things, how to raise kids, money decisions, which stocks to buy, like so many other things, he is my tribe for those things, because I know that he's like so far ahead in those things that I like the way he thinks about a lot of those things. And so I do care what he thinks in that matter, right? So if he was to pull me aside and say something, I noticed that you said this to the kids, or blah, 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 something, I would care, because that's important to me, because I believe that he has some value to add in that area. So in that thing, I would care. I would listen. I would give it some thought. I would process it, and then I would see where the gap is or how we can align to that, right? And so I have these little pockets of who I do care about in those scenarios, and whose advice and opinions I'm going to give at least a second, like, what does that mean? Why did she say that? Like, is there some truth to that? Is this true for me? So let me take some questions from you guys. By the way, quickly, I want to mention that I'm gonna have to put the link for you guys afterwards. But the Rich Babe Mastermind, I emailed this out yesterday. The digital recording. This is this 3-day event that just wrapped up. The digital recordings are available next week. I just have to get home and have my team edit and do all that stuff. And so that's available for pre-order right now. And the pre-order price ends tomorrow. As I said in the email, it was a 48-hour special. So if you want to pre-order that, you can go ahead and do so. I did post the link, but that live stream got deleted. So I will go ahead and post it again in the comments and description after I'm done. So let me see. You guys are posting some stuff. Jessica, thank you for the super chat. She said, thank you for everything you do. No words can describe and explain how much your videos have impacted my life and my future. Oh my goodness, Jessica, thank you so much. I fully received that. Thank you, thank you. Excellent advice, Mina. It all depends on the context of the opinion and who's giving it. Yes, bingo. That sums it up beautifully. I think there was another super chat or something that I missed. I'll try to get back to it. Hi, Mina. Thank you for always showing up for your clients and students. You are so welcome, babe. Mina, when you are observing the emotion, do you ask why or do you let it go? I try not to do anything that will take me back into the mental body. So when you're observing the emotion, you're in your energy body. When you say why, how, who, when, you try to figure it out, now you're back into your mental body. And I'm not saying that that may not be useful in some ways. I use journaling for more of that body consciousness, divine processing. So my journal does, I might like sit in that, I wonder what this means, right? But when I'm actually just observing an emotion, I don't want to engage my mental body into that. Hi, lady. I love you. Thank you so much. Mina, do you have any advice for staying positive while doing inner work? It feels like a huge mountain. I'm not sure how to allow it to be easy. So whatever your personal set point is for positivity, let's say, I'm just making this up, this is not an actual scale, but let's say that there is a positivity scale and 1 means super negative person, 5 is kind of neutral, and like 10 means, oh my God, this is the most positive person ever, right? If your emotional set point is at a 4, and that's just like your personal frequency, that's where you're used to, that's where your nervous system is set, anything that you engage with, any new manifestation, any inner work, the man of your life, anything will, even if you like slightly go to 5, you're always going to come back to 4. You're always going to come back to 4 until you actually expand the container for it to not be 4 anymore. So women that come into anything, a relationship, money, inner work, a new job, an old job, parenting, they will take that thing, even if they really wanted it, even if it was amazing, and keep taking it back to their emotional set point, right? So my positivity set point, I don't know what it is, but if I tap into, like, it's not an actual number, right, that someone's setting, but I feel like it's probably like a 9.5. Like, yes, there's room for growth, but like that's, no matter what happens, even if God forbid something really bad happens to me, within a few minutes I'm back at 9.5 because that's my set point. Even if I drop to like a 6, I'll go back to 9.5. We always go back to our emotional set point. So for you to make inner work fun, you're going to have to change your emotional set point of whatever that is for you, because you're gonna keep going back. They've actually studied this. They've studied this with people who were perfectly, healthy and able-bodied, and then, for whatever reason, they had an accident or something happened to them, and they became paralyzed from the waist down, I believe. I believe that all of the people studied were some kind of a paralyzed. And let's say that these people were at like a 7 or 8 of happiness before this accident. Well, as you can imagine, this was a very traumatic thing that happened to them. So for the moment, they went back, they went like very down to like a 0, 1, like they were depressed and really went down for a while. But when they studied these people, I'm sorry, I'm probably not gonna give right numbers. I don't remember. I learned this in a long time ago. When they studied them like 3 to 5 years later, they had returned back to their original emotional set point of happiness. Even though something so bad, like, and I mean bad from like human perspective, there's no such thing as bad, but like, that's very traumatic. We can all agree that, like, God forbid that happening to anyone would be very traumatic. But they had, over the next few years, processed the grief, did whatever they need to do internally, and then they returned to their emotional set point of the same level of happiness that they were in before the accident. So I'm telling you, this is powerful work. Whatever your container of positivity or happiness or joy or pleasure or money is, we always return back to that. This is why over 95% of lottery winners end up broke again after winning millions of dollars, because that's where their money set point was, and they didn't do container inner work around money. And so they had to get themselves back to the comfort level. And also, some people don't even need to lose the money. I actually know people in real life that went from nothing to multimillionaires, but they still act, behave like, think like, process things like as if they're broke, because their emotional set point never changed. They never received the money in a way that would allow them to expand their container. And you guys know I love this work. I have a free workbook on container work. It's called my container workbook. And actually I should change the name to a playbook because I don't like the word work, but it's linked in the description box of this live stream and you can get it for absolutely free just by signing up. Hi babe, she said, oh my God, I'm so happy I made it today. Love you. Hey babe, I love you too, gorgeous. I am on such an extreme, like just high vibration right now. This event, the Rich Babe Mastermind, was unreal. I mean, just the heart opening, the love, the friendships, the sisterhood. I was telling the girls that I feel like I healed a deeper level of sisterhood wound. And I mean, just by like teaching this intensive and being around, I have never had a group of women this open. Like every time we do these events, you know, beautiful, amazing women show up, and we've got different people at different levels and people at different vulnerability levels and people at different comfort levels. Somehow we ended up with 12 people this time that their hearts, their souls, their like vulnerable, it was just so open and it was just crazy. It was amazing. The shopping that these women did, oh my, I have to up my shopping game. I literally like have to shop more to keep up with these crazy baddies over here. They were so amazing. It was just, oh my God. I've been sharing little bits and pieces in Instagram stories and my Facebook group, but there's no word to explain how this experience was. One of the members explained it, one of the goddesses, she said that it was the experience of many lifetimes. And when I heard her say that, she actually posted in the Facebook group, I was like, yes, oh my God, I feel it was an experience of many lifetimes for me too. I'm changed now. A different person is going back home than the one that came here. So I'm super excited. We still have a few spots left for Houston, which is happening. It's called the Goddess of Fire. We're doing dark feminine energy this time. And that's happening on July 13th. We have, including me, we have 14 people right now. And I have a space for a couple more. So email my team at theuniversegroup@gmail.com if you want to sign up for that. And that one is a 1 day. Hi from Dallas, Texas. So happy to catch you live after so long. Been watching your older videos. They uplift me so much. I'm so happy to hear that, babe. I know I missed you guys so much too. I'm so happy to be back. I have to go back home and literally hit the ground running. So I leave today from here, but I get there Thursday morning because it's like you lose hours when you go the other way. And when I land there the next day, my in-laws are coming. And so we let them know we're in the middle of packing. So the house is a little bit, you know how it is with packing with 3 kids and all that. So, but I'm excited about that. So it's going to be just nonstop fun for like 3 or 4 days. And then the following week, it's like I've got the Savage Feminine launch happening, so much yumminess. So it's gonna be like a little bit of a fun roller coaster for the next few weeks. We're also moving, you guys know, so I'm so excited. Lots of fun, exciting things happening, and I literally can't wait for July 13th. I'm like, I can't, you can't like be in this kind of sisterhood and love and then not have that again. Like, our standard, all the women were saying this at this event, that our standard for conversations, for love, for sisterhood, for money, for shopping, for business, like completely changed. And it's like, how do you like go home and like get back to normal? Like you like normalize the whole thing up level, right? You go big. Thank you, babe. Oh my goodness, I'm getting so much love from you guys. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Pink Butterfly. She said, hi, Mina. I want to keep my life private, so I don't really use Instagram, Facebook, but I feel like I also fear the judgment of others and attention of crazy people. What do you think about it? So don't think about it, feel about it. What do I feel like doing right now? And let the journey unfold. if you heard me talking 3 years ago, I had all kinds of limiting beliefs about Facebook and Instagram, right? I'm always catching my own BS and my own limiting beliefs. I was telling the girls this actually just yesterday. I said, sometimes I'm doing a live stream and I will be saying something, and as I'm saying it, I will be like, the radar of like, that's totally a limiting belief will come up. So that's why it is happening in layers. So I don't sit and analyze things. I don't try to like, because the mental body has a very, like the mental plane has a very limited access to information, very limited, right? Even with all that we read and take on and watch, it's very limited. The energy body, the heart, the access to the field has so much more information. And I believe that's what Einstein meant when he said, you can't solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created the problem. That's why, because the problem's created here and the solution is here in the field. So I don't analyze it. I don't try to figure it out. I just say, okay, well, what do I want to do now? What feels good now? And then what feels good 2 years ago is different than what feels good now. So literally what feels good now, and then following those divine breadcrumbs. Yes, don't think about it, feel about it. I'm so glad. I'm so happy to hear that. I think there was another super chat that I had missed. I didn't bring my laptop on this trip, so I'm just gonna have to do it like this. You are so welcome, Coach Kenise. Thank you so much for the super chat. I think I had gotten that one. Okay. Another thing that I want to say, and this is in the recording in the Rich Babe Mastermind, in the digital recording. It's not there yet. You can pre-order, but I'm gonna get it on there. I talked about this. If you're trying to mentally do inner work, good luck, babe. You can still do it. It's gonna be a lot of work. It's gonna be a lot of work. Do not overindulge the mental body. Do not overindulge the mental body, the mental plane, the thinking, the figuring out, the how, the what does this mean? Sometimes things don't mean anything. Let me say that again. Some things don't mean anything. They are just life unfolding and happening. But if I sat down and tried to make meaning and try to figure out why that one cut me off, why that didn't happen, I would drive myself completely insane and bananas. And I would not be enjoying my life experience here. So sure, there is a time and a place for repeated patterns showing up, and maybe part of your inner work is getting with a mentor or a coach or being in a digital program and journaling on this stuff for a little bit. But if you are over analyzing every single thing that happens to you and every crazy thought that occurs in your mind, think of it this way. If your thoughts were clouds and they were just like coming at you, and I sat down, what does this cloud mean? I have to figure this cloud out. Like I would go crazy instead of just letting it pass through, okay? And going back to, well, what do I actually want? What do I want? What do I want to create next? How do I want to express myself? And just being in the answer of it, not in the figuring out of it, mental body, being in the answer of it, staying with the question in the sense of like, what would feel really good right now? Like if no one was judging me, if I wasn't judging me, if there was no right and wrong, there was no bad or good, what would actually really, really feel delicious in my body? And just going back to that will give you the answers. The game changer, not involving the mental body to do the inner work. Thank you. You are so welcome, babe. Yes, because there are some people that can start super over analyzing it. I will get emails from some people just I'm like, girl, I created that thing and I didn't think that hard about it, okay? You are taking it a little too seriously. So let your inner work be a little bit of entertainment too, okay? So I like doing inner work in a playful, fun way, and that's why I don't put so much pressure on it and I let it happen in layers. There are things that I learned 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago that I'm learning on a deeper level now, and I'm like, oh, okay, that thing, like I get it on a whole new level. I didn't sit there and think very hard about it though. I let inner work be like this living, breathing engagement of life, this observation, this like natural process of just like how life gets to unfold. What do I want? What a simple but overly complicated thing I tassel with. It's complicated to the mental body, not to the energetic body. It is not. So if you're trying to figure it out, if it seems complicated or you can't figure it out, you are engaging the mental body. Just know that. And I do that too sometimes. I'll have my moment where I'm like trying to figure something out and I'm like, there's nothing to figure out. Just drop in. Drop into your body. We'll tell you. Okay. Hi, Heather. I haven't seen you in a moment. Heather Ann, hi. Oh, hi, Talisha. She said, hi, goddesses. Hawaii was amazing. For sure, it was high vibe. I have absolutely been upgraded. My entire life standards have changed and been up-leveled. Talisha, ah! It was so amazing having you, babe. Oh, my goodness. I know. I feel completely like a different person is returning home. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Oh my God, that's so crazy. I was thinking about this and boom, you are live right now on this topic. Crazy cool. I love it when it's so divine and so aligned. Awesome, babes. So I am going to let you guys go now. I know. I miss you guys and I'm so happy to be doing that. But I'm going to run down to Valentino real quick. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but I'm sure a lot of people do. But Hawaii has Hawaii pricing for a lot of designer things. So it's very easy to go a little bit crazy over here because things are so discounted and tax is so much lower. And so yesterday I was like, okay, I'm done shopping. Like, I don't even know if everything's gonna fit in my carry-on. And so I was like, done. And then one of the girls for dinner walks in with this Valentino bag that I didn't even know existed. And I'm like, why did you do that to me? Now I gotta like figure out more space. So I'm gonna go and see if I can get that bag in another color. And then I have to come back and pack and catch a flight. So I love you guys. Just quick reminders, on July 13th, the Savage Feminine is starting live. Super excited about that Dark Feminine Energy course. July Intensive Goddess of Fire. We only have a few more spots, so if this is calling out to you, immediately reach out to my team at theuniverseguru@gmail.com. Also, the digital recordings of this event, the Rich Babe Mastermind, is available. It's right now pre-order, so it's discounted for another 24 hours. You're gonna do a pre-order and then the content should be available next week because my team has to edit. There was a fire drill right when we started like the conference yesterday, and I'm gonna have my team edit that fire drill out. So it's gonna be next week. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Bye.